What's up, Cinephiles? For today's episode, we are going to do a review of the Netflix film, a new action flick starring Chris Hemsworth. This one is called Extraction. It's directed by a stunt director from Avengers Endgame and Captain America Civil War, Sam Hargraves. Now, Phil, why don't you tell us what this film is all about?
When the son of an Indian drug lord was held captive by their rival drug cartel from Bangladesh, they hired Tyler Rake, played by Chris Hemsworth, a mercenary, to extract the son of this drug lord. As you mentioned, it was directed by Sam Hargrave, a stunt coordinator. And I'm really glad that stunt coordinators are doing action films now. Because, for example, John Wick and Atomic Blood, they really know how to do their action, man. While this movie sort of started on a questionable note for me. I'm gonna discuss that later. When the action kicks in, it is so fun to watch. There was a chase scene, this one-shot sequence that is also deliciously jam-packed with so delicious action scenes. The way they edit that one-shot sequence so much. And this is just a really enjoyable action film. Kevin, what can you say about this?
Really agreed on what you said. I'm gonna stop beating around the bush and talk about that 10 to 15 seemingly one-shot action sequence, which was super hard to really shoot. I mean, we love 1917 and we love films which are one-shot, and this is like the main entry of that film. And just to hammer your point, that I'm really glad that Sam Hargraves was given the chance to finally make his directorial debut. The amount of patience, the amount of diligence, and the finesse in staging these action sequences. I think that particular scene starts from a car chase, then to a shootout scene, and then there's a close quarter combat scene, then back to a chase scene, and so much happened in that 10 to 15 minute mark. It's really fluid, and in some instances you can feel that the camera swoops inside the vehicle and then follows our characters. I'm just blown away. I mean, this level of filmmaking don't really get much love when it comes to Oscar season, and that's why I kept on pushing that, you know, stunt work should also be acknowledged during Oscar season. That's my one of my beliefs, you know, when it comes to modern filmmaking. Chris Hemsworth, we already know that this guy can do action. We've seen him before, but in here he just really lays it out in a performance that's so comparable with Keanu Reeves from John Wick films. And I know I've been making a lot of comparisons here, but because it's so evident that director Sam Hargraves has so much love for films featuring a fluid action sequences. When it comes to plot, I know it's nothing worth remembering. We have already stressed the fact that Chris Hemsworth here is a mercenary who has nothing to lose, so he takes this job, this rescue mission, just to earn a buck. The film hits the ground running, and halfway mark, that is when the film starts to do a little bit of backstory on his character, and which also allowed Chris Hemsworth to do some dramatic heavy lifting here, because really the characterization of this character is thin. They really managed to let this character be just this bland mercenary. The thing that it makes it likable is because of the star power, and as an audience, if you're looking at the face of Thor, your mindset is gonna be like, oh, I'm supposed to be rooting for that guy that is the nicest guy in the film. What can you say about the plot, Phil?
Before I discuss about the plot, I have to talk about the hand-to-hand combat. We've talked about a lot of action films, off-cam, on-cam, and by now I think you know that what I hate most about action films are shaky cam. I really hate shaky cam because that just means that the actor can't pull off those stunts. And with the recent films, like, again, I keep coming back to John Wick and Atomic Blonde. These stunt coordinators really know how to do fluid action. Cam doesn't shake. They're doing it on screen. What the stunts that they're doing, they really put a lot of effort into that. They really had to do a lot of practice, a lot of rehearsals in order to pull those off. So really, you have to appreciate that. Really major props to Chris Hemsworth for, well, doing his job really, really well.
I feel like I really need to give props as well to the unsung heroes, which are the stuntmen. They really laid out their lives for this film. And there's a particular shot here, and I'm pretty sure that there's not a mannequin used for that scene when Tyler throws off a guy off of a building, and I'm pretty sure in my head that is really a stuntman.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you said a while ago about the Oscars. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they still haven't introduced an award about stunts, and they really should do that. Proceeding to the plot, first off, I want to say this is a really, really great action film. I'm an action guy. I really enjoyed watching this film, but if I have to talk about the plot, it's really a bit paper thin for me. A perfect example would be they tried to go the route of Mad Max. In Mad Max, there isn't really much setup to everything. It's just probably a 5-minute introduction, 5 to 10-minute introduction, and now you're going to be thrust towards the great action sequences. Comparing it to Mad Max, here in Extraction, really the setup, the plot is not that strong to really get an emotional response from you. And I think that's the weakest element of this film, but it's really saved by those awesome action sequences.
We actually have the same points, especially that emotional response that you were talking about. It's actually needed towards the end because we are developing this bond between Tyler Rake and this kid that he's trying to rescue. His name is Ovi, and it's played by Rudhraksh. Jaiswal. He's a really good actor. He delivers his lines, but when it comes to creating that bond, that thing that you needed towards the end for it to pay off, it kind of falters because there's a weak set up here. Granted, that is already cliche, and the main reason that we're really going here for is for the action. You needed that backstory which kicked in the middle of the film, and by then it's a little bit too late for me, and it's already, you're really immersed with this shootout sequence and a lot of fighting action sequences that you kind of forget that what will really hold the film together is not the action sequences but the bonds that you're creating among your characters. The way this film really sets it up to low ambitions, I mean, when it comes to a storytelling point, it kind of worked against the film because this is not a pretentious film. The main reason is to display the directing abilities of some Hargraves, which really work no matter how mixed you feel in this film. For me, this is a glowing item in his resume. And I hope studios out there will pick him in doing future action movies because he really can deliver. I would also like to add that because this plot is very common when it comes to its white savior elements, and I know a lot of people have been fed up by that now that we have seen so much like the Bourne franchise, you know. And there's a character here, however, I'm looking at his name. It's Randeep Hooda. He plays Saju. Now he's the bodyguard of the drug lord father of Ovi. I think it's a nice counterpoint that we're not really just centering on this Australian white guy who does all the kicking ass. There's a level of authenticity because I really view this character as a mercenary.
Yeah, with regards to Randeep Hooda, he's really great in this film. I just had a bit of an issue with his character because he has a subplot in this film that ultimately didn't really have resolution for me. I just thought that he is so good in this film that they could have utilized him a little bit more because the conclusion for that character is a bit underwhelming for me given the role that this character plays in the entire movie. But Randeep Hooda, I'm glad you also mentioned him. He was really great in this film.
From the get-go, we're not really getting much from Chris Hemsworth's character. So the closest backstory that you can gravitate into is the character of Randeep Hooda.
I almost forgot to mention, I was so happy when David Harbour came on screen. I didn't expect him in this movie. And for the short duration that he's in this film, he's still awesome, man. I really love David Harbour, if you can tell.
Immediately when his scene was there, my head was like, oh, that's a crossover. But you know, some people are not yet aware that he's playing Red Guardian. That's a crossover that will definitely get mentioned along the road. So Extraction, on an action level, I think it really holds its ground with films like John Wick. We kept mentioning that because that really set the bar high. I'm not sure if people will really dig into this because elements here like child abuse and, you know, adults doing harms against children. And I know that might be a sensitive content for some of the audience, but I do love some mindless action films every now and then, and especially that we are deprived of the March to April blockbuster summer season. Yeah, this is a good substitute. Just on an entertainment level of scale, I would give this probably a 4.5, but I really have to be impartial and judge this film not only for its action sequences, because those are just moments of temporary adrenaline, and this film really gives you that cathartic release that you've been needing now that you're just holed up inside your house. But in terms of plot, there is nothing really something new to be offered into the table, and this plot has been rehearsed so many times. It could use some improvement on the screenplay. So for now, I'm gonna give this movie Extraction a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, for me, Extraction, it is a much needed distraction for me, given the times that we're in. And I am so glad that I got to watch this Netflix film. Action is probably one of, if not my favorite genre in film. So I really, really enjoyed watching this. In order to rate this film, I have to rate it as a whole. And if you're gonna put into consideration the plot, the action can't really carry this film for me to give it a high score. So while enjoyable, I'm also going to give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay guys, that's it for our review of Extraction starring Chris Hemsworth. Guys, let us know in the comment sections, did you enjoy this film? And maybe tell us what are your favorite action sequences, action scenes throughout the history of cinema. So let us know in the comment section below.
If you like this video, click that like button and subscribe to our channel. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye guys, take care.